Hello again, everybody. Great to have you along. We welcome you to yet another edition of Journey Through Sports and Life. My name is Scott Murray, and I am along with the M&M twins. Hello, girls. How are you?
Doing great. How are you, Scott?
Right. Identify
Doing
yourself
great.
so we can let the audience know who you are and what you're all about.
Well, I'm Marjorie Herrera-Lewis, and I'm excited to be here with the two of you.
Well, I'm very excited. I'm Marnie Schneider, and I'm very excited to be alongside, although a little bit far away, unfortunately, from Marjorie and Scott.
Well, I tell you what, I think it's kind of special and certainly unique for our particular show that this is the first time where we're not at least one of us in the studio in Dallas, Texas, our home base. But Marnie, you're in North Carolina now. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
I am in New York. I am in the state of New York, and Marjorie.
Yeah, and I'm just not in the studio, but I'm in Dallas.
Okay. All right. And I tell you what. Oops, Marnie, are you there?
I'm here. I'm multitasking in my home studio over here. It's so much easier when I'm sitting in your studio with you guys. Yes.
Well, it's not a problem, but I tell you what, this is your special guest. So why don't you give us the latest on Harrison and who our special guest is with us today?
Excellent. Well, I'm really excited to have Harrison join us today. So Harrison Bernstein is the president and founder of Soldiers to Sidelines. And for more than 2 decades, Harrison has been really involved and enmeshed with all sorts of things that are sports related: sports psychology, sports business, sports performance, the human body. During that time, he was the strength and conditioning coach in the NFL for the Washington Commanders, a football coach to the high school and the NCAA, a teacher of exercise science at George Washington University, an entrepreneur in fitness, the fitness, wellness, human performance category, an incredible speaker and seminar leader in many really interesting things that I love to hear about: lifestyle, fitness, coaching, and human performance. Harrison's a graduate of the Johns Hopkins University with a BA in economics. And Harrison, and this is how we connected, he is the founder and executive director of Soldiers to Sidelines, a nonprofit organization dedicated to educating and certifying military members of every service branch to become expert coaches. Once they're certified, Soldiers to Sidelines helps coaches earn coaching positions with their communities. What inspires and motivates Harrison? Helping people. He's great. He really, and oh my gosh, we're in for such a treat today, including himself, become the most successful version possible of themselves. He has focused his life's energy and attention on learning the best methods to influence others and achieve the unimaginable. Just imagine. Through steadfast attention, curiosity, and effort, loaded with enthusiasm, everyone can win. So Harrison is a great guy. If I'm ever having kind of a moment where I'm like, wait a minute, I need some clarification, Harrison is definitely my first call of that. So I'm really excited for everybody to get to have a little bit of Harrison motivation and inspiration today. And I think you guys are going to love him.
Oh, wow. This sounds fantastic. We've got a great show coming up.
Yeah, it really does.
We definitely do.
Yeah, I do a lot of things with the military, and of course, 30 years as a sports anchor. So this is right down my alley. I'm really excited about meeting him. This is fantastic. So thank you, Marnie. Marjorie, thank you. Hold on to your seats, hold on to your hats, wherever they might be today. And we're going to get to Harrison in about a very short period of time. But we're going to take our first break, and we're going to be back with more as we continue with this edition here on this special day as we move forward with Journey Through Sports and Life right after this. Well, welcome back as we continue with yet another edition of Journey Through Sports and Life. Marnie and Marjorie and yours truly, Scott. And we have our special guest, Harrison, that I tell you what, Marnie, why don't you take it away and give us the official introduction now that he's joined us?
I'm delighted to introduce my dear friend, Harrison Bernstein. And I'm not going to say any more because we want to leave a lot of time for Harrison to talk. So here we go.
Sounds like a deal. Harrison, from all three of us, good morning. Great to have you on board.
Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning. It is such a pleasure to be here. And I'm so happy to see you, Marnie. Like anytime we can see each other outside of the phone, it's a special day. Scott, so great to meet you and see you. And Marjorie, likewise, I just really feel honored to be here this morning.
Well, wonderful that you could join us.
No question about it. And we're delighted to have you on board as well. Well, first of all, tell us about just in very short terms where this all came about and why you started it. You were a coach. Bring us up to date.
So short terms is difficult because this is an awesome story, but I will abbreviate this as quickly as possible. Soldiers to Sidelines started as an idea in 2014, and it was really just a passion project of mine when after leaving the Washington Redskins and coaching high school football in DC, right around, I think 2011 timeframe, we just had so many service members coming back to the Washington, DC area. We had a bunch of veterans fresh out of the war. And if you remember those times, and even to this day, those folks were affected. We were hearing things about isolation, depression, suicide really started to become a hot topic. And really, folks were like, what do I do? Like, what's my purpose? Like, I've just got done serving my community. And actually, I had a friend who said, hey, why don't we get some of these folks over to football practice and teach them how to coach football? They would love it. I thought it was such a great idea. So we started doing it, and we just had a great impact. And then, like, all the while this was going on in my time in coaching for the now Commanders, but at the time the Redskins, I was teaching at George Washington University in exercise science, and I was thinking the quality of coaching at the youth and high school level throughout our country needs to improve, right? And the power of a coach is so powerful. I don't even think there's a word to describe the magnitude of the impact a coach can have in a young person's life. And that could be the difference of that person wanting to play sports for the rest of their life and learning all the great lessons in this very safe, like, football or field or court environment. And, what a shame to have like a bad coach to really turn people off. So then I just started writing curriculum about like what would be all the sciences that would make the ultimate coach. Think like sports psychology, biomechanics, understanding energy systems, emotional intelligence, inspiration, motivation. How does like leadership fit into this? And imagine if we could get like 10 PhDs in all this, how great of a coach could we be? So I just started writing that curriculum. And then when my buddy told me about this idea of bringing service members to our football practice, it just made sense that those two things could be combined. This educational curriculum with a group of folks who are open and wanting to learn. So Soldier Sidelines was created, and it was just a passion project of mine. And while I was still coaching ball, and I did that for a number of years, and it grew. And as I grew in coaching, I had stints back in the NFL and the higher levels of college, and it just impacted me, I think, more than it impacted the service members, because I was starting to realize the ripple effect that this could have across our country if we had like thousands and thousands of certified soldier coaches positively impacting our communities. I mean, not only providing purpose and service back to our veterans, but now also the impact that they could have on the kids. So 2019, I resigned from coaching football full time, started Soldiers to Sidelines, like fully with all my time and energy. And the pandemic hit, changed everything for the better, believe it or not. And
really?
Here we are.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a wild experience. But we grew. We went from having 120 certified soldier coaches over 5 years and then within 2 years, we've certified over 600.
Oh my gosh. From
all
across the country, I guess.
All across the country and Oconus. So we have folks go through our virtual certification center seminars in Germany, in the Middle East, in Japan, like all over the world, people tuning in from Hawaii. So we have a bunch of active duty service members working on their transition right now, wanting to get into coaching all throughout the globe.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. And I think it's worth noting here, you had this with whoever it is, the other fellow that you mentioned, had this incredible idea, and you didn't serve in the service, but you still saw this because I love the name of it.
Soldiers to Sidelines. Yeah. And,
right.
and actually the name wasn't even my idea. It was my buddy's idea. And he was like adamant that like, I take control and start this. And I tell you, I didn't want to do it at first. Just to be honest, I was like, I'm a football coach. You're talking about running a nonprofit business. Like I want to coach ball. And I did. But then all of a sudden I started to realize, hey, if I'm really a coach and I'm about coaching people, what if we could coach other coaches so that they could have an even bigger ripple effect? So it was great, right? I got to learn and grow with the organization as we started it. And I tell you, my interactions with our veteran service members, Mill spouses, and Gold Star families has changed my life for the better, that I am so grateful that my buddy convinced me to do this.
Wow. Was he in the military?
No.
Wow. So it's just incredible that you saw a need out there and decided to dedicate your lives to this.
Yeah. Well, again, living in Washington, D.C. in that time, I mean, it was in your face all the time. I was also, once I left the Redskins at the time, I was contracted by the Army War College in Washington, D.C. to do movement analysis on some of our special forces. So I would go and get to know these folks and really create an attachment there. And then I started volunteering in different research projects on resiliency with at the time it was called Admiral Mullins had the Total Force Fitness. So I started volunteering on fMRI studies and resilience and understanding what helps people get through PTSD and why some people don't have it. And it just I just got sucked into this.
Wow.
And it's been phenomenal.
Gosh,
I think back to, go ahead, Margie.
No, I was just saying it just sounds terrific.
Yeah,
but
it really is.
How does somebody go from being a coach and to figuring all this out to build something that has such magnitude and such, it affects people from coast to coast and beyond. I'm amazed that you could transition your skills that way.
And tell everybody what you did with Washington and the NFL before you did this.
At that time, I was assistant strength and conditioning coach, and I was focused on movement, and speed was really my forte there.
And I think Margie makes a great point with what she just shared, that you've taken this across the country. But what you've just said, Harrison, to me, you were more than a coach, and you went from being a coach and all the other people. It's more important, or you need to not only be a coach but be a role model, and that's what our young people, I think, today need as much as anything. Agree?
Agreed, Scott. It's a great point. And Marjorie brought up something too that I'd love to touch on. But I wrote a book called The Everyday Coach: Harnessing the Magic of Influence. And all the profits go directly to Soldiers of Sidelines. And then all of our soldier coaches, once they certify with us, get that book for free, which kind of goes over all this. And the central theme in this, Scott, to your point, is we are all coaches every single day in every aspect of our life, whether you realize it or not. We define coaching as influencing others to do what we want them to do because they want to do it. So how do you influence them? And then how can we get people to want to do what we want them to do? And we do that every single day with our kids, whether it's cleaning up their room or getting your spouse to, want to invite you to dinner or go to something that's on the calendar, at work. How can we be more efficient as an organization if the people that reported to us wanted to do all the things that were on the agenda for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year? We'd be super successful. And there are common factors and themes and lessons through all this that we describe in the book, and they are applicable. And that helps with the transition. So back to what Marjorie was saying, it's not, it might seem like it's this huge task, but it's really not. We all have what it takes within us to accomplish whatever we set our minds out for, right? And so transition for the service members, for me, for everyone, it's doable. You just gotta want to do it, and then look and find out the resources. We don't need to
make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to be the experts now.
Yep. Hold that point. We've got to take a break. We're going to be back with more. Our special guest, Harrison Bernstein, and we're going to be back with more through Journey Through Sports and Life right after this. Welcome back to yet another edition of Journey Through Sports and Life. Scott along with Margie and Marnie. And our special guest, we're really delighted to welcome Harrison Bernstein, who's having a sip of coffee right now because we're early in the morning as we tape this, but we're excited to have you on board. And Margie, you take it away here in this next segment.
Well, Harrison, I think the work you're doing now is fantastic, but now I'm wondering what led you to football in the first place? How did you get involved in sports when you were growing up? And how you developed that passion that led you to where you are now?
Great question. And it really is my inspiration to do everything has been the people who have influenced and coached me throughout my life. I think we all have had horrible coaches or bosses at some point who have done some pretty terrible emotional things to us. And maybe they weren't doing it intentionally, but we know how that affected us. But we've also had tremendous coaches in our lives, whether it's your parents, maybe it is a sports coach or a boss or a mentor. And then we remember how they made us feel. Mm-hmm. And, when I think back going through high school, my high school football coach had a tremendous influence on me. And I just remember playing, and initially started playing because I wanted to be like my dad. Like my dad grew up watching the New York Giants and we used to root for them and we had Jets tickets. And I just loved watching like how passionate he got about the sport. I mean, I remember being a little kid, not even knowing what's going on. Like, why are these guys just falling on top of each other, getting up, and falling on top of each other?
Yeah.
But he was so into it that like I was into it and I wanted to be like my dad. And so then you start playing ball, and then I liked it, the physicality, the speed, the movement. I love running. I love moving. I was like the kid who always wanted to be outside. So then my high school football coach, he'd go to practice and I just loved his demeanor. He would coach us and lead us, but he would also play with us. He has just like this childlike playfulness about him. And he would bring his kids out, and they were young. They were like 4, 5, 7. And we'd be doing drills and the kids are running, kicking over the cones. And, he'd be like, Kevin, get over there. But like, you could see him smiling. So he's like, kind of like trying to discipline his kid, but laughing because it's so cute,
Yeah.
And so we're in line to do the drills. And I just thought that was the greatest thing. He could have his kids out, his family, everyone's a part of it. He's loving it. And I was thinking, I might want to do this one day in my life. So then I was fortunate enough to play college football at Johns Hopkins University. And then I had another outstanding coach, and a guy named Jim Margraf was our head football coach who recently passed. But I believe he might be the most winningest college football coach in the state of Maryland history. I mean, we just had an unbelievable career, one of the most genuine, thoughtful, understanding people I've ever met in my life. And he had a huge impact on me. And then my strength coach in college was a guy named Bill Starr, who's one of the most famous strength coaches ever to walk this earth. And I was just really lucky to do all that. And, as you go, I was in economics at Johns Hopkins. So many folks on the team then go onto Wall Street. Business was big in my family. So I thought like that's what I was going to do. And I had this incredible mentor, this guy named Chick Lord at the time, who was taking photographs of the team, but like he was a big wig in investment banking, like really big. And he was helping me and like mentoring me. And he just said one day, Harrison, I don't know if you really want to do this. He's like, you have such a passion for football and playing and coaching. Why don't you take a year and just go after it? And I'm here for you. He's like, whenever you want to come back and get into the financial world, he's like, I'm here. He's like, but try it out. So I just took his advice, and he was right. I was hooked.
Wow, what great role models and influences in your life. You've been very fortunate.
Yeah, and I think the important thing to point out to our listeners is the fact, and our viewers here, that what we've got here is we've got someone that had a passion, as he talked about his dad and what have you. I don't want to say anybody can be a coach, but when you're a coach, you're talking about X's and O's, and you've taken the X's and O's and taken it to another level. And you're showing them, as I mentioned a moment ago, about what it is to really be the right, true role model. So you're teaching them not only about football, you're teaching them about life. And that, to me, is what impresses me most about what you're sharing with us here.
And that's what all coaches do, Scott, because it's not just football. I mean, we certify folks in football, basketball, lacrosse, sports performance. We have rugby coming up. We have an adaptive sports coaching seminar. And like you said, Scott, People think that we start with coaching with X's and O's, but we don't. It's about the connections with the people. Coaches coach people. We teach the sport, but coaches coach people. And that's why anybody can be a coach. Not only can you be a coach, you are a coach. Whether you realize it or not, you're doing it every single day. You're either doing it well or not as well as you could be. So that's the whole point of this. So we flip coaching upside down in this inverted pyramid of coaching success, where let's think about how to inspire people first, then how to motivate, and can we be fit? Can we be prepared to lead? And then let's start spending time on the technique and the strategy. Because the technique and the strategy, honestly, it just doesn't matter. As long as it's clearly described and illustrated, you can do anything. It's about getting the players, the people in your life to want to do what you want them to do.
Marnie, jump on board.
Well, I think that, obviously I'm a big fan of Harrison and Soldiers to Sidelines. And also one of the things that I think you do, Harrison, and your soldier coaches do is give confidence. They're confident because you have educated them on how to be a good coach. And that does make them, and it's weird because you would think that so everybody could just go do it. But no, you give them confidence to be a good coach. And then their confidence then translates into the people that they're coaching. And so I think giving people confidence makes a huge difference on the playing field or wherever you are. I know that, you've given me confidence, Scott and Marjorie, you guys are my coaches often and give me confidence. And that really is kind of like the little hidden gem in Soldiers to Sidelines. And certainly your coaching tree really does instill confidence in the coaches and then the people that they're going out there and coaching. So I'm a huge fan, obviously.
So how do they find you? You have a great website, and if you could remind our audience how to find your website, but how do these young men find you?
Simply go to soldierstosidelines.org. That's soldiers, plural, the word to, sidelines, plural, .org. All of our information is there. You can email us there. You can reach out to coach@soldierstosidelines.org. We'll answer your questions.
They know you exist. How do you get the word out?
Because they're listening to this podcast right now.
Oh,
yeah.
So we get to play a part in this. I like
yes.
that.
Yeah, this is a big part of it. And it's opportunities like this. Marjorie, it's you, it's Scott, it's Marnie, spreading the word. A lot of it's word of mouth. We have a strong social media campaign where people find us in social media. We've been in the news. Like we just had this special feature on CBS 11 in Dallas when we were doing a football coaching workshop with the Dallas Cowboys in July. So, it's spreading the word, but this is free for our service members. And I think a lot of people hear about us, but one of the barriers we have to break down is people think it's too good to be true, but it's not. Just come to the seminars. It's free in money, but it does cost time and effort, right? So these education seminars are 15 hours long over 5 days.
Let me ask you, count 3 things. This is going to be your legacy, for Pete's sake. Yeah, you're a coach like there's thousands of coaches out there, but this will be your legacy. So what are the 3 things that come to mind, Harrison, that are really most important? When you walk away at the end of the day, you hope you have left this message with the young students that you've been working with.
Everyone's a coach every single day in every aspect of your life, whether you realize it or not. So all of your happiness, your reality can be whatever you want it to be if you spend the time to develop yourself so that you can impact others in a positive way. And I don't know if that's love, because it's different for everybody, right? But when we coach others, and we are all coaches every day in every aspect of our life, whether you realize it or not, it makes your life better. You feel more fulfilled because you are no longer the center of existence. So if you want your world to be better, genuinely help others just for the sake of doing it, and life is cream cheese.
It sounds wonderful. So do you have any, I know we're probably running out of time on this segment, but
no, we've got 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes
If
to
you
go.
want to
Take
kind
it
of
away.
lead us to what we can follow up with in the next with some of your success stories, anybody that you want to tell us about that you are aware of what they're doing and how that's worked out for them?
Yes, Marjorie, but we only have 2 minutes, so I can't get to all of it. 'Cause
But you'll
that's a
lead us
whole
to the
nother
next-
episode.
Yeah,
That's a-
that'll be our next segment. But if you could kind of start us out.
Certainly. We have an active duty transitioning Green Beret right now that we just got an internship over with the LSU football team. And he is influencing them by teaching them all about grit. And so that's going to be we're starting the next chapter of his life after years of service as Army Special Forces. We have a Marine who just earned a job through our program at UCLA, and he's a GA on the UCLA football team. Currently, we have someone working full-time at University of Michigan with their football team. We are growing in basketball big time. We're doing workshops on installations now and starting that transition period. Man, there's just so much. We just had our first ever intern in the NFL with the New York Jets. We are the salute to service partner of the New York Jets. Yeah, I'm just going to stop there because I'll go on forever.
Well, I'd still like to pick it up a little bit in the next segment because this sounds just really, really interesting, especially you mentioned at installation. So that's the first time that's come up in this program right now.
Certainly. Yeah.
It really is. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and take that break. Soldiers to Sidelines is the name of the program. It's coaches helping our young people, our future out there, making a difference, not just as a football coach, but as an incredible role model. And Harrison Bernstein is our special guest, and he's the one that's doing that for us on this Friday. So we thank you so much. We're going to be back with more right after this quick timeout as we continue on with this edition of Journey Through Sports and Life. Welcome back as we move on and continue this segment of Journey Through Sports and Life. Scott and Marnie and Marjorie and our special guest, Harrison Bernstein. And we're delighted to have you. Really some great stuff you've shared thus far. Marjorie, Marnie, who's going to get us going here this segment?
Harrison's gonna get us started. All right,
Yeah.
the ball, Harrison, and continue
Yeah.
running.
If you want to tell us about the installations and how that happened and what you expect to grow from there.
Certainly. But before that, can we just acknowledge the fact that Marnie got her 10-year-old computer to work successfully?
Yeah, that's great.
I think all this coaching talk, she was able to influence that thing to do what she
definitely.
wanted it to do. Yeah.
See, once again,
to impress you guys. With
Yeah,
my,
once
you know,
again,
my
soldier-
AV skills.
Yeah, once again, Soldiers to Sidelines, even helping Marnie with her computer, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, we're super excited for our most recent initiative is to bring the Soldiers to Sidelines coaching workshops onto installations, military installations throughout the country. And we did our first one ever here at Fort Bragg for basketball with the Appalachia State men's basketball program. So head basketball coach Dustin Kearns of the men's team came out with his staff and joined forces with the Soldiers to Sidelines coaching staff. And we just delivered this awesome one-day coaching workshop for whoever wanted to get involved in coaching basketball on base. And that's like a big deal because what we're trying to do is get active duty service members starting to think about the next chapter of their life once military ends. And sports is such a great segue. But at the same time, think about all the families that are living on the bases, like all the kids that are needing great coaches while their parents are serving our great country. So can we do both? And there are great coaches on installations right now, but we can actually give them that confidence and say, hey, like this is the pathway. If you really like this, there's more for you after service. And with the MWR on Fort Bragg, they were just so welcoming and opened their arms, and we had an incredible day. And our workshops are just different because it's actually getting you in position to coach. Whereas like you're not just learning, it's not like a one-way information stream where you're taking notes and it's like, oh, let's be like Dustin Kearns at Appalachia State. Coach Kearns doesn't want that. He wants to show you what he knows, but he wants you to be the best version of you. Like, make your basketball technique and strategy for your kids. And that's what we're doing. We're facilitating that. So it's a tremendously impactful event. And we're hoping to do that at more installations throughout the country. We have a plan in place to hopefully execute on that. We have a sports performance workshop coming up specifically for 10th Group Special Forces in Colorado Springs. That's coming up in October. And we're just hoping that we could do this, because think about this, folks. If we have thousands of quality character-based coaches coaching all sports throughout this country, maybe their kids, their players will want to follow in their footsteps, just like I wanted to follow in my high school and college coaches' footsteps, and they wind up serving the military. They wind up, enlisting in the Marine Corps or the Army or the Air Force or the Navy. And if you do that, like that's one of the most noble things you can do, is to serve your country. And it's through great coaches to influence those kids. It's actually going to be a national security boon when more people are doing that, and then reaping the rewards that the military offers our young people in leadership, discipline, physical fitness, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, you're really
Yeah.
certainly being an advocate for the military and their families and the sacrifices, and then also encouraging young people out there to go and join the military. So you're an ambassador. Soldiers to Sidelines is really many things, in addition to training soldier coaches, but being ambassadors of doing, giving back to the community. So, all right. So Harrison, I know that having a 501 requires fundraising. How do people find you? How do people donate money to Soldiers to Sidelines? What are some of the big events that people can participate in or give money, or how do they do that?
Great question, Marnie, because it is free for all of our service members. Like, they don't pay a dime. I mean, you know this firsthand, Marnie. You've actually seen it. Like, these certification seminars are long. It's 15 hours of contact hours plus homework, and it's the content quality is unparalleled. Where I know people pay $2,000 to go through one of these workshops. And for us, it's free. And then all of our continuing education workshops are free, because we don't want money to be a barrier to entry for coaches to want to continue to serve their country as a coach. So we rely on individual donations, right? And even just like smaller recurring donations, $5 a month, $10 a month, or even $100 here and there, just goes such a long way. And you can do that on our website at soldierstosidelines.org. And you just click the little red button to donate, and you're literally scholarshiping one of our service members in any of these branches to get this quality education for the rest of their life. This is not a one and done. Like, there's all these other continuing education opportunities. Like, for instance, we have this live workshop coming up with the New York Jets, where we're actually going to be in their training facility November 4th, 5th, and 6th, doing a whole football workshop. And then they've given us free tickets to go to the game against the Bills. Like, that's free because people are supporting us. So there's those individual contributions that go such a long way. Companies sponsor some of these events, which really make it all possible. And then we have this Legacy of Leadership fundraising dinner. This dinner is a big deal, because we are honoring leaders who exemplify everything that we've just discussed. And because we're all coaches every single day in every aspect of our life, we honor someone who has been an exemplary leader in coaching, someone who's been an exemplary leader in business, and someone who's been an exemplary leader in the military. So last year was our inaugural event, and we did it at the St. Regis in Atlanta. And our CEO honoree was Steve Cannon, former Army Ranger. Now he's the CEO of Arthur M. Blank Sports Entertainment. So he oversees Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Atlanta United, the Johnny Mack Fund. So he's just done so much, and we were so honored to honor him. Our military honoree is one of our advisors, Colonel Greg Gadsden. who played football at West Point and was an outstanding linebacker. And he served in the military and unfortunately suffered a catastrophic incident in service, lost both his legs. But he's become the most amazing motivational speaker. And he was brought on with the New York Giants by Tom Coughlin to inspire the team, and he did. And they wound up winning 2 Super Bowls in those years. So he's the only person ever to win 2 Super Bowl rings after losing both his legs.
Wow.
And then we honored, our coaching honoree last year was a guy you might have heard of named Coach Nick Saban, the head football coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. So he came out and just totally supports the idea of, inspiring our leaders. So this year coming up, we're doing our second annual Legacy of Leadership dinner in Washington, D.C. on March 27th. And we will be honoring NFL Hall of Fame coach Dick Vermeil, who's a dear friend of Marnie. And Marnie has really paved the way for Dick to receive this honor. And we are so excited because he does represent everything that we want all of our coaches to be. If we could have 10,000 Coach Vermeils out there, think about how awesome this world will be. And then our military, go ahead.
Go ahead. Where are you based? You said Atlanta, Washington. I'm sure people are saying, well, gosh, where is Harrison based?
Everywhere. We are a national organization and we are nationally distributed. So we are based everywhere. I am currently doing this podcast from Denver, Colorado, but we have our staff is in Tampa Bay, Dallas, New York City, Maryland, Nashville, North Carolina. I mean, we're just nationally distributed. And this is one of the greatest perks of the pandemic is we have the technology to do that. And because we are distributed, we serve a national demographic. So our soldier coaches are all over the country, I said, all over the world. So it doesn't matter. But anyway, our military honoree this year coming up is the 36th Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army, 4-star General George Casey, who's also on our advisory board. And we have yet to name a business honoree. We have a list. We're waiting for a couple confirmations for a confirmation, and we will get that to you. But that'll be in Washington, D.C., Monday, March 27th.
Fantastic.
This is very impressive list. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm sorry you couldn't get.
I think that we're all the 3 of us, Scott, Marjorie, and myself. We all love to get involved and to find things that really inspire us. And what Soldiers to Sidelines does is it really kind of combines so many different things that are really exciting for us. Obviously, sports and coaching and family and tradition and making a difference. So it's something that I'm really pleased to be part of. And I know that the people that go through Harrison through the Soldiers to Sidelines training, really, I've met them. They are very excited about it and they talk about it and they get really excited to go out and share their knowledge with whomever it is, whether it's young kids or older people or whatever. It really does make a huge difference. The coaching skills, they bring a lot of skills to wherever they are to actually go out and coach and make a difference. Yeah. And when you do that, again, when you turn the lens away from you, you'd be surprised at how much better your own life becomes. So this is how we serve our service members. I mean, people talk about breaking down stigma of mental health. Well, mental health is living a life of fulfillment, and you can work on that. And one of the stories I'd like to share real quick of what really impacted me. This is one of a dozen of these stories from our soldier coaches, where I think it was 2018, we were doing a live in-person coaching seminar at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. And it's this whole weekend event. It's long, 18 hours over 2.5 days. And we have these coaches socials. And throughout the whole time, there's this guy sitting in the class, and he's just not saying a word the whole time. He's just sitting there. He's looking, he's taking it in. He's got a little scar on his eye. And, leading the seminar, I'm like, either this guy hates me or I am the most boring person in the world. So I'm trying to get get any kind of reaction, a smile, something. I'm getting nothing. So
anyway, we just carry on. And it's such a wonderful event. And we get to the final coaches social. So once everyone wraps up and they get their free coaching polo and their book and the whistle because they've graduated from this course, we're at a local pub and we're having food and drinks. And then all of a sudden I see this guy like walk right over to me. I'm like, uh-oh, this is probably not going to go well. And he comes up and he gives me this huge hug. And he's like, Harrison, I want to thank you. You saved my life this weekend.
Wow.
I haven't left my house in 2 years. I was thinking about ending it. And now I know I have a purpose. He's like, I have a huge story to tell you. I will tell you, but I just can't thank you enough. And he left. And I just left. I was sitting there shocked, like not realizing this impact I had. And sure enough, we got him into coaching in Florida. He had to move to Ohio. We helped move him to Ohio, got him coaching in Ohio. He had divorced his wife. Anyway, he started coaching. His relationships got better. He remarried his wife. He's got a great relationship with his kids. He's fulfilled, and now he volunteers for us full time. And that's the impact this has.
How do you top that? How do you top that? Well, I tell you what, we have finished up this particular segment. We're going to be back with some closing thoughts from our special guest, Harrison Bernstein, as we continue on with this edition of Journey Through Sports in Life. Welcome back as we head down the home stretch. Harrison Bernstein, our special guest, Journey Through Sports in Life. Marnie, let's finish it up. What do you say?
Harrison, you're so passionate when you talk about Soldiers to Sidelines. Please give us, I think our audience would love to hear just, how to get involved, what they can do in the community. Just remind everybody of where they can go for Soldiers to Sidelines and how they can be part of it.
Yeah, certainly, Marnie. I just want everyone to realize that we are all coaches every single day in every aspect of our life. And it's worth working on those skills so that we can have better relationships and a better impact. And if you're currently serving the military or you're a veteran military spouse or Gold Star family and you have a passion for sports and this might something you might want to get involved in, go to soldierstosidelines.org and then join our mailing list. Just sign up for one of our seminars, be a part of it. And if this inspires you to want to help more of our service members become coaches, donate. Go to soldierstosidelines.org, click that red button that says donate, become a monthly sustaining donor, and you are actually helping not only our service members and veterans find purpose and fulfillment, but you're also helping the national security of our country because maybe our young folks will get a little bit better, have better lives, and maybe even serve our great country.
I have one thing too. We've talked about college and NFL, but you probably have coaches that are serving in community youth sports, high schools, different levels. So this isn't just for coaches who want to go into college coaching or NFL or major leagues or anything like that.
Correct. The majority of our coaches are coaching at the youth, middle school, and high school levels. And that's where the biggest impact is. The LSU story, the UCLA story, yeah, those are all aspirational and make the news, but the true impact is in the community. Like people say, oh, I just coach youth sports. It's not just. That's the most important. That's where all the development happens. Your value is in the community. It's cool to be at the collegiate level or in pro sports, but the impact is for the young kids, high school and younger.
Yes, I wanted to remind our audience of that. Thank you.
All right, wait, one more thing, Harrison. So you were strength and conditioning.
We got 20 seconds, my friend.
All right, give us like one thing that we can do on a daily basis to improve our strength and conditioning. Is there such a thing?
Yeah, sleep. Make sure you're getting at least 7 hours of quality sleep. Most important in longevity and fitness, sleep first. Eat real food, mostly plants, not too much, and then move. Anything, just do something. And again, that's the secret.
Harrison Bernstein, you're our rock star. We can't thank you enough, and continue all that you continue to do all across the country, making a difference in the lives of those that need it most. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to all of you, on behalf of this edition of Journey Through Sports and Life, I'm Scott Murray, along with
Marjorie Herrera-Lewis,
Marnie Schneider,
Till next time, stay well, stay safe. Again, soldiers to sidelines. Check it out. Till next time, bye.